Oh, there you are, YouTube. So my wife and I, we've been in this, it started as a Sandra Bullock marathon, but then when we watched Speed, we turned it into a Keanu Reeves marathon. Although after we watched Speed, we then watched The Lake House, so it was kind of like a blend, but then we just moved it over to a Keanu Reeves marathon. And we've been watching a few. I've documented some of them, not all of them. One that I do want to recommend really quick, though, is Destination Wedding. He's very funny in that movie with Winona Ryder, which he was in Bram Stoker's Dracula with her as well, which we also watched recently, which I did talk about. But we just finished watching all three Matri. We watched the three Matrix films. The ones starring Keanu Reeves. Those are the only ones, right? I'm just saying we didn't watch the Animatrix. I believe he does provide his voice maybe for one of the Animatrix films, but not all of them. But yeah, we got through these. Obviously, I saw all of these when they were in theaters. Some of them, the last two, I went to the midnight showing for, and I remember this person brought their kid, like a baby to the midnight showing, and it started crying right during the previews, right? Actually, I don't even think the previews had started yet. It was just like we were all just waiting for the previews to start. And the baby's crying, and this person maybe three seats ahead of me yells across, because it was kind of like auditorium seating, but split down the middle, if I remember correctly. And we're on this side of the auditorium, and then the person is on the other side of the other side of the auditorium with their crying baby. And the guy in front of me, he goes, "Shut your baby up and leave." And if I remember right, I think he threw the F word in there somewhere. And then she stood up and she's like, "Well, if you had a baby, maybe you would feel a little bit differently." And he's like, "If I had a baby, I wouldn't bring him to a midnight showing." And then she got up, walked her kid out, and then we all started cheering and clapping, and it was just like, who brings a baby to what R-rated, right? R-rated midnight showing. That makes no sense. Packed house, right? The entire theater was jam-packed, and she's trying to have a little baby with her watching the movie. You can't do that. I can't believe the theater let her in. But anyway, watched these three movies. Matrix came out in '99, one of the greatest years in all of cinema. Matrix is one of the reasons why I believe it should have been nominated for a Best Picture Oscar. Didn't happen. It just has so many layers to it, and it is incredibly revolutionary when it comes to visual effects. I think the visual effects in the first one are better than the visual effects in the second one. The visual effects in the second one, though, I think they were pushing further, and they hadn't quite gotten to the point to where they needed to get to say, okay, let's use that. But the third one, Revolutions, the special effects in that one I think are really good, which is interesting because 2 and 3 came out, I think maybe within 6 months or 3 months of each other, if I remember right. And you would think their special effects levels would be the same, but I don't think so. I think out of the three, the second one has the worst special effects, and then 1 and 2, or sorry, 2 has the worst special effects, but 1 and 3 have the best. I really love what I'm seeing in 3 and in 1 as well. But yeah, my wife, I'm trying to remember if she's seen all three or just the first one, because we watched the first one a lot. She actually, like, I have this box set here on DVD, but she won our Blu-ray at a trivia night, like a movie-themed trivia night, and she won that when I was working at a bar. And yeah, so I don't know, she's had that movie. This was before we were married, so she's had that movie, you know, she's watched it before, but I can't remember if she said she had seen the sequels or not. But we watched them, and the second one, even though I just watched the second one yesterday, it's always been that I only really remember the semi fight, Lawrence Fishburne on the semi, and the Ghost twins. And I mean, I've always loved the idea about like the ghosts and the vampires and the werewolves, and how those are like, you know, programs in the Matrix that are kind of mad at the Matrix, so that they're showing up, you know, in our world as, you know, like strange X-Files style phenomenon. And I don't know, I always thought that was cool. So that's a cool aspect to that movie. But yeah, the second one, I just feel like I always have a tough time remembering everything that's going on in it. And then I remember at the end how it ends on a cliffhanger, how it's not its own film. Like the first movie is its own film, has a conclusion, where the second one ends on a cliffhanger, and I really don't like that. I didn't like that when they did that with Pirates of the Caribbean 2 either. And the third one, you know, resolves everything. So it works, but I just don't like that you can't just watch the second one. You know, you feel obligated to watch the third one. Where the first one, you can just watch the first one and not feel obligated to continue the story. And I think I prefer that with films for the most part. Or if you're going to do that, like with Endgame and Infinity War and Endgame, have a clearer, stronger, like, semi-conclusion. You know, like those movies are meant to be seen together, but I feel like you can very easily just watch Infinity War and not necessarily need to watch Endgame directly after. I don't feel that way when it comes to Matrix Reloaded, which is the second one, and Revolutions, which is the third one. I feel like they must be watched back to back. It's very difficult to watch the second one and be like, yep, that's what I'm here for. So, yeah. And because I think that hurts the second movie a little bit for me. I don't know. It does a little bit. Should I get a new camera angle? I don't want to have too many cuts. So maybe I'll just do something like this. So things are a little bit more interesting. Not just staring at me from that one angle. So I've always loved this box set right here, because you have sort of that hologram style Matrix code happening. This is DVDs, which I still watch DVDs. I have way more DVDs than I do anything else. My collection is primarily comprised of DVDs. Ultimate Matrix Collection has a bunch of introductions. Oh man, sorry for the glare. Whoa. Just sort of tells you what is in this box set, what to expect. Chapter, index, scenes, all of that. This also comes with the Animatrix, which I definitely recommend watching all of these. My wife doesn't watch cartoons too often, other than, you know, the ones our kids are watching, because, you know, that's constantly happening. So she hasn't seen these. I'd like to get her to watch these at some point. I really enjoy them. They tell some really cool stories. Some of them which directly tie into Reloaded and Revolutions. I can't remember his name now, but there's like a young kid who was just woken up, and he's like really in love with Neo. He's like, oh, Neo, you're so great. Basically, the story of how he got woken up and taken out of the Matrix is in the Animatrix. So yeah, that is also in this package. What else? What do we got here? The Matrix Experience right there. You know, again, I love the third one. I think the third one's great, but this part right here, when Agent Smith gets punched, you know, and it's like this, that part looks super fake, right? There are a couple parts in 3 that look extremely fake. Should I use that as a thumbnail? I got a shadow there from my thumb, so I probably can't, but maybe I'll try and find a way to do that. But yeah, this here, man, it's been years since I've watched, you know, this specific DVD, but when I first got this box set, I watched it from beginning to end. Every single thing I could watch, I watched. And why isn't this going in? There we go. But, I don't know, what do we got here? The Zion Archive. I don't know, is that for a PC? I don't think so. But yeah, oh my goodness. I feel like a terrible movie owner. Luckily, it landed art side down, so no scratches. Everything looks safe. Wow. Whoa. I'm so embarrassed that that is caught on camera. Okay, so yeah, Matrix experience, just, you know, documentary type stuff if I remember correctly. It's been probably 10 years since I've watched all of this stuff. Maybe 10 years since I've watched, over 10 years since I've watched 2 and 3. The first one, again, I watch quite a bit. New angle? What do you think? That right there? Got a shark over there. Y'all like Jaws? Okay, also comes with The Matrix. This is kind of an unboxing video of an old box that I have and have had for quite some time. Ooh, look at that, Trinity. If you're gonna ship a couple, ship them. So that's The Matrix. Here is Reloaded. Right there. Morpheus down there. Oh, look at him with that sword. What is that, a katana? And then Revolutions. Oh, I like this image a lot. That's great. I like that fight at the end. This has some good fights. Reloaded has that other fight where Neo has like the stick, you know, where he's Donatello all over the place. The first half of that one looks good, but then they made everybody kind of look like a video game at the end portion of it when he grabs the staff or the pole or whatever it was. And that portion doesn't look so great. But, you know, it's still a fun battle. But Matrix Revolutions has that. I don't watch Dragon Ball Z, but I've heard people talk about it as if it is a Dragon Ball Z battle. So, I don't know, if you watch Dragon Ball Z, do you agree with that? I don't know. You know, like when they're in the rain and they're, you know, fighting, you know, Neo, Smith, fighting like that. Yeah. I think that part is awesome. But what I love most are the mecha suits. Like, that is what I walked away remembering after I saw that in the theater. Like when they're against all the calamari sentinels. That stuff is what I love. It reminds me of Aliens. That part. It also reminds me of a future movie. You know, a movie that hadn't come out. You know, when Matrix 3 came out. Makes me think of Avatar, right? And I don't know, just sort of positions itself. All those movies sort of position themselves into this cool area of sci-fi with these mecha suits in live action films, and I just absolutely love it. Is there anything else I should show in here? This is Matrix, the first one. In there, I want to show you the DVDs if you're interested. Reloaded. It's kind of funny, I'm turning this into an unboxing to something I've had for years. So long. And, you know, this is something I haven't looked at in a while. You may have seen it on my shelf, like up here somewhere by my grandpa. But yeah. This train scene. Yeah. Kind of interesting. Yeah. I'd like to learn more, and maybe it's in the Animatrix and I just don't remember, but I do want to know more about the programs, the angry programs, the ones that are angry at the Matrix or trying to get some sort of revenge, or they become obsolete, so they're causing up, you know, some ruckus. You know, the vampires and the werewolves and the ghosts. Like, learn more about them. I think that was an interesting addition to this universe, and it's one I would like to know more about. I'm having a tough time getting this back in. Got it. Here it is, right here, everything. But I think this is great. I love this. This is one of my prized possessions because of this alone. You know, I know everybody gets into 4K and, you know, steelbooks and things like that, but I still have a lot of DVDs that I am very happy with. And this is a collection that I love so much. I really like the Matrix movies. I do. First one's definitely the best. Okay, let's rank them. Let's rank these movies. The first one, is the best, right? Everybody knows that. I want to know, does anybody watching, if you stumbled on this video, do you think 2 or 3 is better than the first one? Because I am curious about that. Because I feel like everyone I talk to believes that the first one is the best. I feel like that is unanimous and everybody agrees. I don't know if everybody thinks it should have been nominated for Best Picture, but I definitely think it should have been. Just for, again, the content, you know, everything that it's saying, definitely. But also, beyond that, I think it does for the technical achievements as well. But yeah, the way I order them, the first one, the third one, which is Revolutions, and then the second one, which is Reloaded. That's my ranking. So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. So thank you so much for talking Matrix with me, and perhaps I'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout. Before I go, I'm really excited for the fourth one.